This video was brought to you by Brilliant. In November last year, OpenAI released ChatGPT, a chatbot built off what was then their latest large language model, GPT-3. For the next few weeks, it felt like the entire internet was trying to either trick ChatGPT into saying weird things or create ChatGPT-generated poetry about everything from Putin to Jesus. As a result, it was all anyone could talk about for a while. And within just 4 months, it reached 100 million users, the fastest for any app ever. This was huge, and as a result, ChatGPT both astonished and terrified the rest of the tech industry. Which is why basically every other big tech company has since come out with their own version of ChatGPT, and told investors that they'd be refocusing their business on generative AI. So today, tech giants like Google, Microsoft, and Meta are all scrambling to get ahead in the emerging AI race. So in this video, we thought we'd take a look at how the AI race is shaping up thus far. As we see it, there are basically two frontrunners in the AI race at the moment: Google and Microsoft. Now, Google has been investing in AI for years now. They bought DeepMind back in 2014. The T in ChatGPT was invented by them. They've historically produced the most AI-related research papers. And before ChatGPT, they were widely considered to have the most advanced AI tech around. However, they have been slightly leapfrogged by Microsoft recently, which has benefited from its close relationship with OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT. Now, to develop this relationship, Microsoft has invested $13 billion in OpenAI since 2019, and as a result, they now have a 49% stake in the business, as well as the rights to 75% of OpenAI's profits until they make back their original investment. Now, while Microsoft haven't secured a similar deal for GPT-4, OpenAI's latest large language model, Microsoft has had exclusive access to GPT-3, the LLM behind ChatGPT. And beyond that, Microsoft now wants to integrate GPT-4 into their entire product range, including Microsoft Office products, and has already integrated GPT-4 into its search engine, Bing. Now, for most of its recent history, Bing was considered by most people to be a bit of a joke. Bing was used for something like 2% of all internet searches, compared to 90% for Google. And Google versus Bing even became a popular meme format in the 2010s. However, this could all change in the near future, with Microsoft launching New Bing, now integrated with ChatGPT-style features. Now, that's a big deal, and you can tell because in response to New Bing, Google hurriedly brought forward the release of their own search assistant, Bard. Now, instead of being based on OpenAI's technology, Bard is built off of Lambda, Google's conversation-focused large language model that first hit the headlines last year when a Google engineer with access to the model claimed that it was sentient. Unfortunately for Google, though, Bard has had a tough few months. Google's parent company Alphabet saw its stock fall by 8% in one day when Bard falsely claimed at its launch event that the first pictures of an exoplanet were taken by the James Webb Space Telescope, when they were in fact taken by the Very Large Telescope in Chile in 2004. Bard also got in trouble for promoting conspiracy theories using fake citations. And not only that, it currently just performs worse than Bing on most metrics. Bing is better at maths, summarizing articles, and is generally a more helpful search assistant. But it's worth saying that for all the hype, AI isn't actually that great at doing internet searches yet. And as a result, Bing's own market share hasn't really changed all that much. Nonetheless, small changes in market share aren't meaningless because the search market is so valuable. Google's dominance in internet searches has made the company an obscene amount of money and provided the basis for many other parts of Alphabet's business. In fact, Google Search generated an astonishing $160 billion in high-margin revenue last year, accounting for a majority of Google's $280 billion in annual profit. So even a small increase in market share could be a meaningful addition to Microsoft's $80 billion or so in annual profits. Now, this might sound implausible given Google's continuing market dominance, but it is possible, not least because there's a massive first-mover advantage in AI. Basically, this means that the first company that gets their chatbot out there has a significant advantage over all of the others. And that's because chatbots get better the more people use them. For example, because ChatGPT was released first and then immediately became super popular, it's improving at a faster rate than other chatbots just because it's more popular. This then creates a positive feedback loop, because as more people use ChatGPT, it gets better than the other chatbots, which means that more people switch to ChatGPT, making it better, and then so on and so on. This mechanism means that OpenAI could plausibly end up with the best AI out there, or at least the best chatbot. And this would give Microsoft a real edge over the competition, assuming that they manage to maintain their close relationship with OpenAI. And this is one of the reasons that Google is so stressed about ChatGPT and Bing. In fact, early this month, Google's CEO, Sundar Pichai, told employees in an internal memo that products like this get better the more people use them. It's a virtuous cycle. And the New York Times reported in December that Pichai had issued a so-called code red inside the company, which basically means that everyone who can has been told to stop doing whatever else they're doing and start working on AI. So, does this mean that Google has already lost the AI race? Well, no, not yet. Even if Microsoft and OpenAI currently have the upper hand, Google has some real structural advantages over their competitors. As we mentioned earlier, Google has been doing AI stuff for years, and not only that, they have some of the deepest pockets out there. Google's parent company Alphabet is currently sitting on a cash pile worth about $170 billion, which it hasn't been able to invest elsewhere. Usually, this would be a bad sign. The fact that Alphabet can't find any productive investments to spend this money on suggests that the tech sector, or even the American economy more generally, isn't particularly dynamic at the moment. However, this enormous cash pile might come in very useful during the AI race, because, well, integrating AI into stuff like Google Search and Google Docs is going to require an enormous amount of computing power. And that's going to be expensive. And we already can see this, because interacting with Bard requires something like 10 times as much computing power as a standard Google keyword search. And Morgan Stanley estimates that rolling out Bard across the board could cost Google something like $6 billion a year on top of any other upfront costs. So Google might not look like they're winning at the moment, but they have tons of research and, crucially, tons of money. It's also possible that Google already secretly has better models that they are yet to release. Now, this might sound like some weird pro-Google conspiracy, but there's a lot of good societal and business reasons for holding back models like this. For instance, Google's text-to-image model, known as Imagen, was the best in the world and better than OpenAI's DALL-E 2. But they refused to release it because they were worried about it being used for harmful purposes. So it's at least possible that Google hasn't released their most powerful chatbot model or other AI models for similar ethical reasons. It's also worth noting that from a business perspective, they have a difficult balancing act to work out here. Google's revenue, as previously discussed, is very much tied up in search ads. So if they suddenly release an incredible chatbot that diminishes the reasons to ever do a normal search, and thus ever see normal search ads, then they cut into their own revenues hard, at least until they work out a good business model for their new AI version of Google. Equally though, if they take too long to release it in an effort to protect their profits, then they'll begin to look like they're floundering and allow other companies to get that first mover advantage. So Google really need to move slowly as to not throw away the golden egg that is search, but they also can't move too slowly. You get the idea then. It's definitely too early to rule out Google, and it's possible they have something up their sleeve that they're not quite ready to release for business reasons. And to be honest, there may even be time for other big players to get a foot in the door too. While Meta had a bit of a disaster last year when their science-focused Galactica chatbot was suspended after just 3 days for making a stuff up and being a bit racist, they've invested billions in AI over the last decades or so, and their most recent chatbot has been well received by the AI community. Similarly, Amazon have said that they're expanding their partnership with Hugging Face, another AI startup. And while they've kept most of their projects under wraps, Apple have announced that they plan to triple their data center capacity by the end of the year, which strongly suggests they're about to announce some sort of AI themselves. All in all then, the AI race definitely isn't over. But as things stand, it looks like a bit of a two-horse race between Microsoft and Google. Now, we'll have to monitor how this story plays out over the next weeks, days, and even minutes. But while we're waiting, it only takes a few minutes every day to massively improve your skills and safeguard your career against artificial intelligence. That's by investing in your own human intelligence. And that's where Brilliant.org comes in. Brilliant.org is the best way to learn maths and computer science in a fun and interactive way. Brilliant has thousands of lessons from foundational and advanced maths to AI, data science, neural networks, decision-making, and more, with new lessons added monthly. That logical decision-making course is super interesting too, using principles from maths and science to help you reach your own decisions. And I'm not naming any names, but perhaps some politicians ought to get a Brilliant account. Anyway, you can try everything that Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days by clicking our link in the description. Plus, the first 200 TLDR viewers to do that will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Thanks for your support, and thanks for watching TLDR.